All right, we're going live now. The only problem with this is, I didn't think about this. I don't think, YouTube used to actually let you share your screen. Is that going to be messed up? That's my screen behind me there. Okay, so hopefully this is going to work properly. I don't know what it's looking at though. Hopefully that's what it's seeing on the screen. I have no idea though. I can't tell. So if you go to, so the question was, how do you access the textbook? So if you go to Canvas, okay, go ahead and log in. Hopefully this is being recorded, but I have no idea. Oh, and I should really give, where was she? I don't see her today. There was somebody helped me make sure that you guys could see the homework, which was really nice. So if you go to your stat class, this is how you access your homework and the book, okay? So if you click on the homework, and then load chapter 8 in the new window. Okay, so this is your homework. These are your homework. Oh, except for I'm the teacher, you'll get to see the student view. Okay, so there's your homework right there. Okay, now the other thing you can do, how do you get out of there? And I don't know if you see this thing, but if you go back to the class, then over here on the right side you can see the homework. Now, is there anybody here who has a laptop and is following along, and does that work for you? I'm getting some thumbs up. Okay? But you don't have a laptop, so you don't know if you can remember that. Hopefully that got recorded, but I don't know if it did.
I think I saw that last time.
You saw that last time, yeah. This is your book right here on the right side, okay? So the homework is due next Tuesday. I think I'm gonna have both chapter 8 and chapter 9. Now the one thing that I wanted to do today that I didn't have time to do last time in class, it's gonna be some good homework questions. I just remembered here. I am going to allow you guys, in fact, I'm going to upload it here. In the announcements, I forgot to do this, so I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to create a new announcement called Formula Sheets. Okay, these can be used for homework and tests. Except for when I say that they're used for tests, I will supply them for you. And I'll also supply them for you for the quiz. I don't remember if this, yeah, that's the right word, has a, so I will mention this. Now I need to look back at myself here. Okay, now just, if you don't have the book, well, it might be easier just to use this. If some of you will want to buy the book, okay? It's an expensive book, but some of you like books and you can purchase it. It is expensive though. But in the back page here, you've got the normal distribution table, okay? You should also see this in your textbook, but I'm gonna load my own normal distribution table as well. And I think there's some other things that I would like to use. So I'm gonna upload that right now on Canvas. And so you can use these. Here, I'll just upload a new file. And we're going to use this first thing, choose file. Oh, it's going to take me a minute. I don't know why I don't have access to my OneDrive. But at any rate, here's what I'd like to do. Okay. Here we go. How do we download these? Download, there we go. Should have done them one at a time. That's all right. Okay, so I'm going to post these tables up as an announcement. So these are the formulas that we will use for the entire semester. If we have a quiz, I will pass these out to you, and then I will collect them so that we don't need to print them 100 times. But if you want to print your own copy, these are great. These are all the formulas we're going to use, and we're also going to use some tables. And so for today's lecture, what I would like to do, I'm going to make this big. We'll leave that up on the board there. And so here's what I'd like to do. Last time we talked about a sampling frame. The class is smaller today than it was on Tuesday. I don't know if that means people dropped or what, but we're going to assume that everybody's here today, and we're going to create a sampling frame. Basically, I just want you to count from 1 to 20 or whatever we get to, and remember your number.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay, so we've got 16 people here. We've got a population of 16, okay? Now, as part of your homework, we're going to have to use a random number table, okay? We've got 16 people here. You guys don't sit very symmetrically. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to call you 4 here, group number 1, okay? You 1, 2, 3, 4 are group number 2, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. You 4 here are group number 3, and you 4 are group number 4, okay? I've just created a convenience sample of 4 groups, and you're all conveniently sort of sitting next to each other, okay? So this is my convenience group, okay? Now, here's what I want to do. So group number 1, I want you to use, we've got 4 groups. I want you to use line 1, to keep it easy. Group number 2, I want you to use line 2. Group number 3, I want you to use line 3, and group number 4, I want you to use line 4, okay? And we're going to ask a nice controversial question. What's a good question? What's something where people are going to have? Let's see. Here's what we're going to do, okay? Who do you want to win BYU or Utah? Okay, and you have to pick. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a bunch of different sampling techniques. Last time we talked about sampling techniques. Okay, we're going to do a convenience sample. So I want you to all take about 30 seconds. No campaigning, okay? We're not trying to convince anybody of our opinion. All we're trying to do is ask this question: who do you want to win, BYU or Utah? So we can take 30 seconds, ask among yourselves in your group, and then we're going to take the results, okay? So go ahead.
What were you? So what are we doing?
All right. Now, by the way, okay, so you're done. Okay, so let me just show you something. We're gonna keep our results here. I'll try to make this a little bigger so you can see. Now, one of the cool things, except for when you don't want this to happen in Excel, is if you notice, by the way, if you move your mouse to the right to here, it changes from a white cross to a black cross. And if you click and drag, it will count for you. Is that not cool or what? Okay? Now, I'm just going to warn you guys, every job I've ever had, I've needed to know how to use Excel. Some of you have never used Excel. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, but I'll probably do it too fast. Okay? You can go back and watch the video, hopefully, if this is being recorded. We might move to another room. Well, I can't get the Kaltura software to work, but anyway, I found out that the room downstairs is a computer lab and it was black, so that means nobody's in there. We might move down there in the future when we really need to use the computer. But at any rate, group number 1, how many people want BYU to win? 1. Group number 2? 2. Group number 3? 1. Group number 4? Oh, I'm surprised. I thought it would be more than that. Okay, so we just did a census. Okay, the census says that we have 5 people out of 16, which works out to be this divided by that, 31%. Okay? Now, each of you just did a survey, and in this case, 1 divided by 4 is 25%. So you guys were biased on the low side. More people wanted BYU than you said. But group number 2 was biased on the high side. Biased meaning you didn't get 31%, which is really impossible with 4 people. Okay? So as we look at these groups 1, 3, and 4 were the least biased among the class here because they were the closest to 31%. They were only off by 6%. This group was off by almost 20%. Okay? So that's your convenience. So the convenience sample actually worked pretty well. Okay? Here's what I would like to do now. Okay? I want to do the same thing. This time what we're going to do is a simple random sample. Okay? So you remember the number that you picked in the first case. Okay? Now let me go back to our random number table here. I will leave this up. Okay? This time, rather than talk to 4 people, I'm going to have you talk to 5 people. Okay? Now, let's pretend that I'm going to pick the bottom line, line 30 here. Okay? Now, 16 is a 2-digit number, right? You've got 16 people in class. So I'm going to pick every 2 digits on my random number table. Okay? So the first 2 digits are 37. We don't have a 37, so we're going to skip it. Then we've got 83, don't have an 83, 62, 64, 93, 59, 36, 18, that was close, 88, 59, 02. Who is number 02? It was you, right? BYU or Utah? Utah, very good answer. I'm a Utah fan too, that's awesome. Okay, we're going to keep going. 42, 86, 56, 31, 48, 91, 05, and I will ask 05 that question again, okay? Now, if you don't, maybe we should split these up. Okay, if you don't get enough on one line, go to the next line. I want you to talk to 5 people, 5 random people using this table. I changed my mind. Here's what we're going to do. Group number 1, I'll let you stay with line 1. Group number 2, I'm going to let you do line 20. Group number 3, I'll let you use line 13. And group number 4, you can use line 24. Does that make sense? And then it still fits on the screen, okay? But this is going to be a little bit harder. I want you to work with your groups. I'm going to post this, I guess, after class, because you guys won't see it right now, right? Okay? But use this random number table. We're going to find out if you guys get a closer number to 30% using 5 people than you did using 4. And so you can ask anybody in the class, you're going to say, I'm looking for number 13, who's number 13, and then 13 answers, okay? Does that make sense?
So we're not doing it for.
You're collecting information as a group, yes, but you can ask anybody in the room, okay? So we'll give you like 2 minutes. You guys are 24, 13.
Number 1.
Number 6. Yeah. That's me. Are you doing Utah? What? 71. 48. 97. 16. Are you Utah? 8. I got this. Are you BYU or Utah?
That's 11. Who's 11?
Wait, did we just?
Go to the next one.
Number 5.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm 5. Utah.
You can pick.
You're 5. Utah. Okay. I'm 5. Utah. Okay.
Here's 7 number.
Here's 3. I know one thing working Utah. Usually like 2 numbers. It was close.
Number 7, so it's like 7 every other number.
Yeah, see? If I make it bigger, it won't fit on the screen.
Are you number 7?
Okay, are we done collecting data?
Yeah.
Who's number 1 collecting data?
We need number 2. That's me. Utah. Okay, so we have 1.
Are you guys done? Okay, let's collect results here. Okay? All right. So you talked to 5 people, group number 1. How many people wanted BYU out of 5? 0? Really? That surprised me. Group number 2, how many people out of 5? BYU. 1. Group number 3, 2. Group number 4? 1. Wow. So typically, your simple random sample does a better job, okay? Let's figure out our percent here. So we got this number divided by that number. So group number 1 got a really biased sample. They got 0%. 20, 40, 20, okay? So y'all were still biased. Now, the reason why, normally you're not going to have a sample size of 4 or 5, okay? If we're also not going to have a population of 16. But the idea here is, if this was a quiz question and I said, pick 5 random people, do you feel confident that you can do it? Pick the random people from using random number data. Okay? All right, so that's how you would do a simple random sample. Now, let's talk about a stratified sample, okay? Now, normally when I do a stratified sample, I do men and women, but I only count 2 men and 14 women in this class, which is really kind of odd. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stratify based on class standing. Okay, hopefully. So here's what I'm going to do. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Hopefully these are better than the men-women ratios in this class. How many people are freshmen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many sophomores do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you 8? No, you're 7. Juniors. 1, 2, 3. And seniors. No seniors. Oh, that's interesting. Usually we have some. 3 and 7 instead of class 15. And who didn't answer? What are you? You're what? So you're like a senior. Okay, you're the senior. Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's see, this is 31%. 7 divided by 16. I don't know what that is. What is that? Here, I'll do it right now. 7 divided by 16 is 44%. 3 divided by 16 is 18%. Boy, you guys really aren't helping me out here. You know what? If we take off the senior, this might be easier. That adds up to 15. So that's 33%. That's 20%. 7 divided by 15 is 47%. Okay, so stratified sample. Here's what we're going to do. Normally, you try to make your stratified sample look like your population. Our population is only 16. It's pretty hard to do. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pick 2 freshmen, 1 junior, and 3 sophomores. How's that? Okay? And I'm also going to show you how to do a systematic sample. Did we talk about that last time? No. Okay, well, we're going to talk about it today. Systematic sample. And the idea is you pick every kth individual. And when I say kth, every 3rd individual, every 6th individual, every 4th individual, whatever it works out to be. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of combine stratified with systematic. Okay? I'm going to pick every 2nd person. Okay? So who are the juniors? Raise your hands high. 1, 2. I'm picking you. BYU or Utah. Okay? So I got 1 Utah here. The freshmen. I'm going to pick 2 freshmen. Who are the freshmen? Raise your hands. Okay? 1, 2. Utah. 1, 2. Oh wow, we got 2 more Utahs. This isn't working out very well. Hopefully we get out of our 3 sophomores. Raise your hands, sophomores. Okay. 1, 2. BYU. Finally. 1, 2. BYU. 1, 2. Utah. Okay, so we got 2 Utahs. 2 BYUs, that's what we did. 2 BYU and 1 Utah. So this works out to be, let's see, we've got a total of 6, right? Oh, see, look at that. That actually worked out pretty good. So I got 2 out of 6, which equals 33%, which was very, very close to our 31.25% of BYU support. See, that was our least biased sample. We got 2 BYU out of 6 people surveyed, right?
Yeah.
That's 33%. What did you say? Oh, I only got 5 people. Wait, no, I picked on, no. 1, 2, so there's 3 people here, 2 Utahs here, 4, 5, and 6. 2 Utah, 1 Utah. Does that make sense now? Okay, so the stratified sample, where we broke it down by class standing, okay, was my least biased result. That's actually how, when we're doing real surveys, a lot of times they will do stratified samples because it is a really good method, okay? Now, I also combined the systematic sample with that to do that. So does that make sense? Okay?
1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2. That's a systematic sample. So I combined the stratified and the systematic in this case. I did a systematic sample within the strata. The strata in this case was what class are you? Freshman, sophomore, junior. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, typically, I didn't make this match. 2 out of 6 is 33%. 3 out of 6 is 50%. And 1 out of 6 is 16%. Okay. Typically, we try to get these to match up better. Actually, I did pretty good. I did pretty good. That was pretty close to what our population matches. Although there are cases where you purposely don't do that with stratified samples, okay? But in this case, we did, okay? So, now the last thing that we could do is we have the cluster sample. Okay? Now, I called that a convenient sample before, but basically, I took this whole cluster here. Group 1 was a cluster, and I interviewed everybody in the cluster. And group 2 was a cluster, and I interviewed everybody in the cluster. Normally, in this, if you're doing a cluster sample, so think of it this way. Let's pretend that I want to define people's opinions in English classes, okay? So what I could do is let's say that there are 40 sections of English at UVU, okay? So what I could do is I could randomly pick, say, 3 sections of English classes, section 3, 15, and 27, let's say. And then I would pass out the survey to everybody in those 3 sections. That would be a cluster sample. Does that make sense? Okay. So I wanted to do this last time in class, but I ran out of time. Okay. But do you feel like you understand the sampling techniques good enough that you can pass today's quiz?
Can you go over like which is what, like what's population, parameter?
So the population, what is the population? What's the definition of population? Sit. I can't hear.
Everyone you want a
The entire group, entire set of individuals.
So that will always be the biggest number.
Yeah. So for example, if I wanted to know how many people supported Donald Trump, what would be the population?
16. Wait.
The population of the United States, which is like several billion people or whatever. I guess we're not a billion yet. Whatever, 20 million people in the United States, whatever the number is. Okay? A big number. Okay? Now, if I did, would it, let's say that I'm sure 20 million is too low, but let's say there's 20 million Americans. Okay? So the population would be 20 million Americans. Would it make sense to do a census of all 20 million Americans every month? No. So what do we do instead? We take a sample. Okay, a subset of the population. How many people are typically done in the sample? Do you guys know? Usually 500 to 1,000 in good surveys. Okay, so we take those 1,000 people and we hope that they represent all 20 million people. Okay? Now, the only way to find the parameter is what?
It's connected to the population.
It's the true value of the population. Do we know today the percent of people who support Donald Trump?
That's based off
Out of 20 million. Do we know? Yes. No, we don't know. We only know what it was in 2016 because that was when we had our last vote, right? And it was like 46% or something, right? Okay?
So we never really have the answer calendar.
We usually don't have the parameter unless we talk to all 20 million people. And we only do that every 4 years for the election. Okay? In between those elections, what do? We do samples of 1,000 people usually. So we will know what's the word that's associated with the sample? The statistic. Okay? And then we will find out, for example, what's the approval rating of Donald Trump, which is typically around 40%. You know, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, depending on time of year and what scandal's going on. Okay, does that make sense? Okay.
Our sample was, what was our sample for this class?
Our sample was our 4 groups. Oh, so the first one was 4, the second one was 5. The stratified sample, we ended up with 6. We broke it up by class standing. You had a question?
Yeah, so for the parameter, it's the true value of the population, but it is in what you're looking for. So like the parameter, if you're looking for how many people support Donald Trump, then it's how many people support Donald Trump from the population.
From the population, yeah, usually, yeah. Because you survey the entire population and then you say, do you support Donald Trump? And whatever percent of people do that. So the parameter, you're still talking, it's not just Donald Trump supporters. That's the whole piece of it. It's Donald Trump supporters out of the entire population. That's the parameter. Okay?
So if we were doing the census for like that final vote of Donald Trump, we wouldn't have a sample. It would just be.
It would be a census.
A census is a big sample. No.
A census is like a sample, but you talk to everybody.
Okay.
Okay? So in our case, it's a lot easier to talk to 16 people, right? Or even if it was like that, 30 people, if we had twice as many people in class. So we did a census in this class. That was the first thing we did, is like broke you up into 4 groups and then we all talked to everybody we knew. So we knew in our case, the parameter was 31.25%. 5 out of 16 people wanted BYU to win, okay? All of these other numbers here, these were statistics, okay? And in the case of the stratified sample gave us the least bias out of all the samples that we did, okay? Even the random sample, our random sample was pretty biased, right? We didn't get anywhere close to 30%. We got 0%, 20%, 40%. So all of those were biased. Okay? The stratified sample was the least biased because 33% was very close to 31%. So our stratified sample was the least biased. It was closest to the true parameter. Okay? Question?
Yeah, I feel like bias. So bias is basically just trying to get
As close to the parameter as you can.
It's not like actual bias.
It's not like, yeah. It's not like I'm biased against BYU. I mean, you could probably say all Utah fans are biased against BYU, but that's not what I'm talking about in statistics. Bias says, did you get the right answer? This is the right answer. Okay? This is the closest to the right answer we got out of all the sampling methods we did. We did a convenience sample, we did a cluster sample, we did a stratified sample, we did a simple random sample. The least biased was our stratified sample. It was also our largest sample, which probably played a role in it being the least biased. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, I wanted to do this last time, but I'm going to give you your quiz now. Normally we do the quiz at the beginning of the class, but I thought this would help you pass the quiz. Is it helpful? Okay, so I'm going to stop recording, put everything away, and we will take our quiz now.